Dr. Stephanie Waggle here, and I'm going to explain that the questionnaires that I use are not diagnostic. The way that I make a diagnosis is up here through questions and clinical interviews and years of experience. The reason that I use questionnaires is to keep track of progress over time in an easier manner. So, for example, instead of saying the first time we spoke, you were having issues with sleep where you were only getting 4 hours and then you were groggy in the specific qualitative issues, which wouldn't be very fast and efficient to compare. I could just say, okay, last time your score was a 50 and now it's down to 30. That being said, it's not diagnostic. It just helps kind of streamline a way of assessing the progress quickly. Additionally, the questionnaires aren't diagnostic in that, for example, the MDQ for bipolar disorder, an individual could say yes to every single item on there, but yet not have bipolar disorder. That's why it's important to have an experienced mental health professional analyze the questionnaire. So let's just say you take a quiz online and you say yes to everything, and then it's like, oh, you have schizophrenia. You actually need somebody to interpret the yeses. So let me give you an example. For the MDQ, one of the questions is, do you have racing thoughts? And if somebody says yes, I don't just go, okay, you have bipolar disorder, because it could be your racing thoughts are due to anxiety. So if your racing thoughts are, my neighbor left their car out, I'm going to take their car to Vegas. When I get to Vegas, I'm going to sell the car. And then since I'm in Vegas and I'm going to have the cash, I'm going to go gamble. And then I'm going to get so much money that I'm going to be able to buy the car back and then buy myself my own car. That would be an example of somebody saying yes to the racing thoughts because of manic racing thoughts. But it could be somebody has racing thoughts. They're thinking, oh my gosh, when was the last time that I changed the oil in my car? Do I have enough oil to make salad dressing tomorrow? If I don't have enough oil to make salad dressing tomorrow, then the neighbors are going to think negatively of me and be judgmental. And so those racing thoughts would be more along the lines of anxious racing thoughts. So in that example, somebody could say yes to a screen, but then it doesn't actually indicate that they have what is being screened for. Another example is the YBOC, and it has to do with obsessive compulsive disorder. So somebody could check off that they have counting and checking and have to arrange things in a certain way, and to an untrained individual that sees all those that have been checked off, they might say, okay, you have obsessive compulsive disorder. However, when I analyze these questionnaires, I know to ask certain things to differentiate a positive response in those respects from a different diagnosis. So for example, if somebody checks off the items on the YBOC that I just mentioned, it could be obsessive compulsive personality disorder. So the difference is that with obsessive compulsive personality disorder, the symptoms that they check off are what's called egosyntonic, meaning the person is okay with those things. It's part of their personality. They like that about themselves. They don't want to change it. They're okay with it. Whereas obsessive compulsive disorder is ego dystonic, and the things that they checked off bother them and they are not okay with it. So the question that I ask is, if you had a big red button and you could press it to make those symptoms go away, would you press it? So if somebody checks off a lot of symptoms on that questionnaire and says that they would press the button to make it go away, then I'd be more likely to think of obsessive compulsive disorder. But if they say that they like these aspects and they would not press the red button, then I think more along the lines of obsessive compulsive personality disorder. So the purpose of this video is to explain that I don't use the questionnaires for diagnostic purposes. I use it just for easy record keeping and to compare to a baseline. So if you make progress but we don't really know where you started, it's easier to use a number. And then it's like golf. You want the score to get lower over time. So the questionnaires are helpful in that respect. The diagnostic is all done up here. And if you do a questionnaire and you get a high score or you say yes to every question, that does not necessarily mean that you have the diagnosis that it is testing for. So I hope this makes sense to everybody, and please do your questionnaires if I send them to you, because they are helpful for record keeping purposes.